You know what? I had an empty spot for today. I didn't really know what to fill it with, so I decided to fill it with rage, anger and disappointment. You can join me today in complaining about the current state of the puzzling Cartel Chip, our dinar system for this season 2, which allows you to buy your total amount of 3 items of choice from the vendor, and this reset was the reset where you could have earned your second item by collecting your 6th Cartel Chip after you got the first 3 all at once on release. Now it's been 4 resets, you got 3 more chips, and now you can buy your second item. Now this system already had a big divide between the choice made by Blizzard of only limiting the mythic version of the rewards in the raid to only players who actually defeated the bosses in mythic. Therefore, a lot of talk about, for example, mythic only players being gate kept by being able to earn the biggest ticket items like House of Cards, Just a Diamond, Best in Slots, Maxis, Moxie Jag, etc, because they weren't killing these bosses in mythic. However, the complaint train seems to have slowed down a bit now that the system has gone live. What, however, this has been replaced by was the news, especially to players who spent the first week of the Turbo Boost event, for example, being busy, playing a whole bunch of Mythic Plus, because of course they had to gain a bunch of gilded crests to upgrade all of the gear on their mains, for example, some 20, maybe even 25 Mythic Plus keys to get your 6 item level increase on all your gear. They then realize on the second week, possibly even the third week of the event, that the turn-in quest to earn your puzzling Cartel Chip wasn't consecutive. So, if on week 1 you earned your 3 Cartel Chips at once, and then on week 2 you earned your 4th chip, on week 3 you earned your 5th chip, and on this week you earned your 6th one, well, if you were late, no problem. You just complete the first quest, the Ultra Prime Deluxe Turbo Boost Powerhouse challenges to get your 3, and as soon as you complete one, you get another quest, the Turbo Boost Powerhouse Challenge, to get another Cartel Chip. And if you complete that, since you were 2-3 weeks behind, you can get the other quest so that you can get up to pace with the rest of your characters, for example. Well, turns out there is a problem. The problem is that none of this is equipped with a catch-up mechanism. Everything in here is very simply a weekly event. So if, for example, you haven't done the first initial quest for the Cartel Chips on week 1 on some of your alts, if you log in on that alt on week 3 and you complete the first quest, then you won't be offered the second and third quest, which your other characters would have gotten. So, in short, you will be 1, 2, or 3 weeks behind other characters for earning these Cartel Chips and then buying your items without any kind of catch-up mechanism. So this is what we are complaining about for today, because of course not me, it couldn't be me, but surely many players will have, found out the worst way. It's like, okay, in these first couple of weeks I went all in on my main, I got my item level increase, I got in the raid, I even got to kill a new boss, like we got to kill one-armed bandit, so now I can buy my mythic House of Cards from the vendor. Time to log on my alt and get myself some gear there as well, only to realize that once you complete the first quest, the quest giver is silent for the rest of the week until you go to the weekly reset. It is a very dumb decision. It's a very dumb decision because this is quite late into the season. We're talking about 3 months into the season. So because of this, it doesn't really need to be nearly as time gated, especially because other players are already up to par with this system. So it's not that the players who have been left behind are cheating in some way. They will simply go back even with the rest of the players. Blizzard even had, for example, the hindsight to make visions, to make horrific visions warbound. Why? Because once you do all of the quests to unlock your runes, they become buyable, they become purchasable from the vendor for 1000 of the memento currency you get from the visions. So basically all of your alts who haven't even touched these visions can simply be given this enchant through mail, just give it to them without them having to enter visions once, right? So Blizzard knows how to do these kind of things. However, for some reason this didn't come up when they designed this puzzling cartel chip quests. So since now we are in the weekly reset where you're able to buy your second item and we haven't gotten yet any kind of fixes to this catch-up mechanism, it is time to complain. You know, we were willing to let this go until this reset because the fix is very simple, right? Blizzard hot fixes the quest giver to check your character to read how many puzzling cartel chips you have looted, so that when you pick up the quest, you are rewarded however many cartel chips you are missing. It's very simple, right? If you have kept up to date, your weekly quest will offer 1 cartel chip. If you skipped 1 week, then your next weekly quest for the cartel chip will offer you 2. If you have missed 2 weeks, then your next puzzling cartel chip weekly will offer you 3 chips. It would have been a very easy and quick solution that would have made nobody angry, because I doubt players who killed 4 bosses or dungeons to get this weekly quest on would have been angry that other players were able to earn twice as many chips, right? Because it's just something that nobody cares about. And also we are quite deep into the season. It's not like saying, oh well, I had to farm 90 gilded crests, cap my gilded crests every week, and then this guy who completely skipped week 1 of the season can just log in on week 2 and gain twice as many gilded crests because of catch-up mechanism, because he missed the first week, right? No, he just has to grind more. On week 2, I will be at 90 out of 100 gilded quests, he will be at 0 out of 180, and he will have to basically grind twice as many. There is no catch-up mechanism there, but at least you can repeat more dungeons to cap your quests. In this case, we don't even have that. It's not that when you complete this weekly, you're offered another one if you're behind in chips. Which is why we are complaining for today. It is a poor decision. We are 3 months deep into the season. This was a pretty, basically free gear event. We are not in the very early, very competitive, very rushy part of the season. The first month of the season. There was no need to gatekeep this weekly quest. There is still no reason to gatekeep this weekly quest. You could have just allowed players to get their catch-up system for these chips and be on par with the rest, rather than having to feel bad because they missed 1 week or 2 weeks on one of their 2, 3 or 4 alts. Especially when initially many players might not even have known there wasn't going to be any catch-up system. They might have just thought this was a repeatable quest that offered you your chips until you were up to the limit, up to the weekly maximum. So very poor decision for this patch, which came out with a few complaints here and there, a few bugs here and there ever since the release of the season, which in itself was pretty good, from things like the Nightfall event being a bit of a buggy mess to this Cartel Chip event already dividing the player base because of the limitations of the myth when it came to the raid. I don't think we needed to have this one as well. And because we have just gotten into this reset, which is the reset which allows you to buy the second item, and we haven't gotten this fix from Blizzard about the catch-up system, it's at this point unlikely it will be amended by Blizzard. Some kind of hot fix, tomorrow you wake up, you read the latest blue post. Sorry guys, we have adjusted the quest giver to keep offering you this weekly until you are at your max, at your limit of cartel chips. At this point, it is quite unlikely for this to happen, which is why we are free in complaining about this oversight from Blizzard in missing out on allowing everyone to be on par with these chips, even if you're missing a week or 2 on one of your alts. Everyone is free to join in the comments complaining about this system. Absolutely not, of course, because they themselves have also missed 1 week or 2 on their alts, and now they're also behind on their chips, and they see everyone around them buying their House of Cards and their Justo Diamonds and their Moxie Jugs, and they know they have to wait 1 or 2 more weeks on some of their characters. Definitely not because of that. So we can call a close for today when it comes to Blizzard's choices for this Turbo Boost event. Now, with this out of the way, it is now time to leave each other. We are starting, as usual, the goodbyes by thanking everyone for having watched the video, together with, of course, everyone else who has been supporting completely for free by liking and commenting down below, as well as subscribing to the channel itself. Now, with these things out of the way, thank you again for watching. See you guys tomorrow, and in the meantime, no, listen, if it's cloudy and not very sunny, I want the temperature to be kinda low, or if it's hot, just make it very sunny and dry.